Please, don't do this to me. Mom, please just take this last one.
The village of Kamakura had seen many sunrises, but none quite like this one. 15-year-old Tendai woke before dawn, as he always did, to the sound of his mother's labored breathing. The small mud brick house they shared in the outskirts of the Zimbabwean village was dark, save for the silver moonlight that crept through the cracks in the wooden shutters. He rose quietly from his mat on the floor and approached his mother's bed, a wooden frame with a thin mattress that had seen better days. "Amai," he whispered, placing his hand gently on her forehead. Despite being only 45, Marara looked 20 years older. Years of hardship, disease, and grief had carved deep lines into her face, and her once vibrant spirit had dimmed like a dying ember. "My son," she breathed, her voice barely audible, "you should be sleeping." "I will sleep when I am rich enough to hire someone to sleep for me," Tendai said with a smile, repeating the joke that always made her laugh, even if only a little. He helped her sit up and brought her water in a chipped cup. Her hands trembled as she drank, and Tendai steadied them with his own, rough and calloused from work. After ensuring she had taken her morning herbs, the only medicine they could afford from the village healer, he prepared to leave. The marketplace was already stirring when Tendai arrived, pushing his old wooden handcart before him. The wheels squeaked and wobbled, but he had learned to balance loads so perfectly that even the most precarious pile of goods never fell. Today, like every day, he would do whatever work came his way. "Tendai, over here," called Mrs. Moyo, a fish seller with more wrinkles than a dried fig. "I need these baskets moved to the other end of the market." "Yes, my Moyo," Tendai said, already loading the heavy baskets onto his cart. The smell of fish made his empty stomach growl, but he ignored it. He would eat later, after he had earned enough. By midday, Tendai had carried grain sacks, moved furniture, delivered vegetables, and helped repair a broken stall. His shirt was soaked with sweat and his muscles ached, but he didn't stop. Between jobs, he ran errands for the elderly, knowing they might spare a coin or two, or perhaps some leftover food. "You work too hard, young man," said Mr. Banda, an old teacher who sometimes hired Tendai to carry his books. "You should be in school." "School is for those who can afford to dream, Baba," Tendai replied, carefully stacking the books. "I have my mother to care for." That evening, Tendai returned home with a small bag of mealie meal, some vegetables, and a few precious coins. His mother was sitting outside their house, wrapped in a thin blanket despite the warm evening, staring at the sunset. "Amai, you should be inside resting," Tendai said, concern flooding his voice. "I wanted to see the sky," she said softly. "Sometimes I fear I won't have many more sunsets left." "Don't talk like that," Tendai said firmly, kneeling beside her. "You will see 1,000 more sunsets. I will make sure of it." But that night, everything changed when Marara collapsed. Tendai was preparing their evening meal when he heard a thud behind him. He spun around to find his mother on the floor, her body convulsing, foam gathering at the corners of her mouth. Terror seized him. "Amai! Amai!" he screamed, cradling her head. "Someone help, please!" Neighbors rushed in, and together they carried Marara to the village clinic, a small building with peeling paint and limited supplies. The nurse, a kind woman named Sister Grace, examined Marara with growing concern. "Tendai," she said gently, pulling him aside, "your mother's kidneys are failing. She needs to see a specialist at the hospital in Harare. She needs treatment we cannot provide here." "How much will it cost?" Tendai asked, though he already knew the answer would break him. Sister Grace named a sum that might as well have been the moon. Tendai felt his world crumbling. He had coins in his pocket that couldn't buy a single pill of what his mother needed. The next morning, Tendai went to the marketplace with a new desperation. He worked with a ferocity that alarmed people. He took on jobs that were dangerous, loads that were too heavy, tasks that others refused. His body screamed in protest, but he pushed harder. "Please," he begged at every doorway in the village. "My mother is dying. Anything you can spare." Some people gave, others looked away. By the end of the week, Tendai had gathered barely a tenth of what he needed. At night, he sat by his mother's bedside, holding her frail hand. "I will save you, Amai. I promise you." "My beautiful boy," she whispered, touching his face. "You have already saved me every day of your life. Your father would be so proud." "Baba would want me to keep you alive," Tendai said, tears streaming down his face. His father had died 5 years ago in a mining accident, leaving them with nothing but each other. Days turned to weeks. Marara grew weaker. Her skin took on a yellowish hue, and she could barely keep food down. Tendai sold everything they owned, their few cooking pots, their blankets, even his father's watch, the only memento he had. Still, it wasn't enough. Then Sister Grace called Tendai to the clinic with news that made his blood run cold. "There is a possibility," she said carefully. "A doctor in Harare specializes in kidney transplants. I contacted him about your mother's case. He's willing to do the surgery at a reduced cost if we can find a donor." "A donor?" Tendai asked. "Someone willing to give one of their kidneys to your mother. It would need to be a family member for the best chance of success." Tendai's heart leapt. "Test me. Take mine. Take both if she needs them." "Tendai, you're only 15. "I don't care. Test me." The tests were done. Tendai was a match, but the doctor in Harare refused. "He's too young," Sister Grace explained, her voice heavy with sorrow. "The international law forbids it, and even if it didn't, taking a kidney from a child who has so much to grow into could endanger his life." Tendai wanted to scream. He wanted to tear the world apart. Instead, he collapsed into Sister Grace's arms and wept like he hadn't wept since his father died. That night, Marara called Tendai to her bedside. She had heard everything. Her eyes, though sunken and tired, held a strange clarity. "My son, listen to me carefully," she said, gripping his hand with surprising strength. "I spoke with Sister Grace. I told her I want to donate my kidney to a child on the waiting list in Harare. There is a little girl, only 7 years old, who is a match for me. She has her whole life ahead of her." Tendai stared at his mother in horror. "No, no, Amai, you can't." "I can and I will," Marara said firmly. "Tendai, I am already dying. My body is failing, but my kidney can still save that little girl, and in doing so, I will teach you the greatest lesson I can give." "What lesson could possibly be worth your life?" Tendai sobbed. "That love means sacrifice, that one life given can create ripples of hope. That little girl will live because of me, and she will grow up and perhaps have children of her own, and they will never know my name, but I will live on in the life I saved." "But what about me? I need you." Marara pulled her son close, her tears mixing with his. "You are strong, Tendai, stronger than you know. You have carried me when I could not walk, fed me when I could not eat, loved me when I had nothing to give in return. You will survive this because that is what you do. You survive, you endure, you love." "Please don't leave me," Tendai whispered. "I will never leave you. I will be in every sunrise you see, every kind act you do, every person you help. You have taught me that life is not measured by its length, but by the love we give." The surgery was scheduled. Tendai spent every moment with his mother, memorizing her face, her voice, her laugh. He held her hand as they wheeled her into the operating room in Harare. "Be brave, my son," she said. "Make me proud." "You already make me proud, Amai, every single day." The operation was successful. The little girl received Marara's kidney and began to recover immediately. But Marara, weakened by months of illness, never woke from the anesthesia. Her body, having given everything it had, simply let go. Tendai held her mother's hand as she took her last breath. The sunset outside the hospital window painted the sky in shades of orange and gold, and Tendai remembered all those evenings when she would sit and watch the sky, finding beauty even in her pain. 3 months later, Tendai stood in the marketplace, pushing his wooden cart. But something had changed. In his pocket was a letter from the little girl's family, thanking him and his mother. They had sent money to help him start school again, money his mother had secretly arranged before her death. She had sold the only thing she had left, her body, to give him a future. Tendai still worked hard. He still carried loads and ran errands, but now he also studied at night, determined to become a doctor, to save lives the way his mother had saved one. People in the village noticed something different about the boy. He smiled more even through his grief. He helped others not for payment, but because it was right.